UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres recently presented 4 options aimed at boosting the protection of Palestinians in Israeli-occupied territories. His options ranged from spending UN rights monitors and unarmed observers to deploying a military or police force under the mandate of the United Nations to protect the Palestinians. This was in response to a resolution by the General Assembly that had called on Guterres to present proposals to address a surge of violence in Gaza. Israel, that has drawn international anger for killing over 170 Palestinians in the Gaza Strip since late March, has rejected the UN chief's proposals.
Well, this is a very important development. It's never been announced before. The UN has never offered to intervene in any way in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And I think the 170 Palestinians who have been murdered by the IDF in Gaza over the last 2 or 3 months has really spurred some new thinking on their part in terms of how they might play a constructive role. Of course, the Israelis have roundly rejected the proposal. They don't want any outside force to intervene because they want to control the situation, control Gaza. They don't want to allow any international force to intervene inside of Israel proper. But the fact that the Secretary General has proposed sending a peacekeeping force to Palestine is a very important development, even though the Israelis have rejected it.
Meanwhile, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has once again criticized the U.S. for a series of pro-Israeli positions largely blamed for the deterioration of the plight of the Palestinians. He says he rejects Washington's mediation for peace talks with the Israelis unless it reverts his decision to recognize Jerusalem al-Quds as an Israeli capital. Abbas says he would also appeal Israel's so-called Jewish nation-state law, which defines Israel as a Jewish state, with Jerusalem al-Quds as its capital at the UN.
This law really makes clear that Israel is no longer a democratic state, that Israel, if there is any kind of democratic process, that it's a veneer that conceals this ugly underside that is theocracy and religious supremacy.
The world is still waiting for U.S. President Donald Trump to unveil what he has described the deal of the century to create peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians. But a look at the current situation on the ground shows the chance of success for a deal that Trump has bragged about so much is as dismal as before. On the other hand, a sense of discontent against Israel's violent approaches towards the Palestinians is increasing even among the Israelis themselves. Many believe it is already time for the UN to intervene and properly address the conflict between the Israelis and the Palestinians. Implementing the proposals of the organization's chief, Guterres, could be a perfect beginning.